My name is Gabriella. I'm a sophomore here, and I'm in the BFA program for studio art with a concentration in illustration and also writing. But I'm also a violinist and a mandolinist and an okay banjo player. Um, I love to write short stories and nonfiction, and I'm also very much in love with children's illustration.
Can you give me an example of a really memorable artistic event that you attended at Calvin in the last year or two?
Yes. So a group of us of the cohort that I'm a part of, the sophomore cohort, got a chance to stem off of our interim project, which was a children's book about species extinction, and to be a part of the Beyond Stewardship project, which is a bunch of Calvin professors and community members and us crafted a book about earthkeeping. And there was a book launch, and there was so many people there. And to be completely honest, engineering and biology students got extra credit for being there. But I was blown away with the amount of people, like artists and English majors and data scientists, all there reclaiming what God made them to do and rallying around this book that we had the privilege to add our children's book into. Talking to Professor Dave Warners, who was one of the main people in the book, was we were talking about Psalm 150. And it's one of those verses that you sort of throw around because it's about, let everything that have breath praise the Lord. But when I was talking with him about it, it was the first time that I had sort of heard like the fist pounding to it, like let everything that has breath praise the Lord. When you're looking at a river and it's polluted, you're getting in the way of what it's being made to do. It wants to praise the Lord. And that the book launch and making this book with them completely changed the way and the context that I'm reading that verse now and the whole Bible. So I'd say it's an incredibly memorable experience.
What's the relationship between your art making and the rest of your life?
So I think of myself as a very ordinary person, and I used to think that I had to find uniqueness before I could go out and change the world. But I now believe, probably more than ever, that God gives the gift of creativity so that we can tell his stories, which for me goes farther than just Bible stories. So a writing and a studio art major gets to go to Northern Ireland or just the bus stop next to their house, and you meet somebody that God's poured his creativity into, and you get to take that story with you. Maybe one that you've shared together, maybe they've told you it, or maybe I've made it up in my head, or maybe it's like a little piece of our time together. And the gift he gives is often wrapped in that sort of ordinariness, because that's just the way that God works with us. I think of like a king in a manger or a carpenter's son that's friends with a bunch of fishermen. And you start to understand the extraordinariness of it all. As a kid, I remember reading children's books, and it's one of my earliest memories, and memorizing those pages and looking at those pictures, and I was so in love with those books. What drives me to pursue art and writing are those memories, with the idea that I can give generations to come their own childhood memories full of those stories. So I try to live appreciating and cherishing those stories, being the person that I needed as a kid and I still need now. So looking for my friends and my family stories, but also complete strangers' stories, because I know that I'll never know the complete story. So that helps me understand to be kind. And I know that everyone has a favorite story to tell and a story that'll make them cry, and that helps me connect because I have those too. So yeah, making art for me is a way to recollect and honor those stories and the people and the places that come with them.
And Gabby, how has your vision of collaboration expanded in the past few years?
I think that I have finally understood that listening is also collaboration. I have seen collaboration portrayed as, like everybody's hands in the middle and we're talking all over each other and we're participating and there's like a go team. But I don't think that collaboration is constantly putting yourself out there anymore. But listening is countercultural. I mean, listening to who is around you, remembering the things that they've said, that's what will begin to change you and in those around you, because those words are really just containers and you start to see the person they really are. I didn't realize this until halfway through January in our time in Northern Ireland, or the north of Ireland. And while we were there, we spoke and we listened to so many inspiring people, like the kind of people that you can't take notes fast enough. Poets and priests and reverends and artists and theologians and just beautiful, wise humans. But I think what was most memorable for me was the conversations that we had when we were just as a collaborative in a group together, responding to what we'd heard. We would sit, probably with our hot chocolate and our toast, overlooking the coast of Scotland, and inevitably we would cry, because when your heart's so full, and it constantly was there, emotions just bubble up quicker. And talking with people about, like why is it okay to be sad, and how language shapes the way we see, and how to draw a line from a loving God to a car bomb that killed 7 human beings. A whole notebook full of that wisdom that I'm still trying to process through. And that was all collaboration. We were working together to change one another and our perceptions and our biases and our beliefs and the way we create, whether we knew it or not.